the recording is going to start here now. Okay, recording is turned on at this time. Today's meeting is Tuesday, April 7th, and we're covering Zoom meeting classrooms, how to access our stuff, how to upload assignments. We're going to be talking about Chapter 12, voice leading, and we're going to be covering all of the new updates with our AP tests. So first and foremost, let me share with you guys some of the updates we have for the AP test first and foremost. All right. So you probably saw, I posted this a little bit earlier. If you go to the AP website, you just go to the College Board website and you search for AP, there's a little link right at the top that says updates for students affected by the coronavirus, news and updates. So all this information is here. There's new tabs called For AP Students. If you keep scrolling down, there's information for educators and the webinar. Don't watch the webinar. The webinar was an hour long and you will get no information from it. That's what I watched and sent you the information about already. So you don't need to take care of any of that information. At the top, information for students is the information that I posted pictures of in your team room. We're going to go to our team rooms here in a minute. So in Microsoft Team, the thing that you want to pay attention to is when we scroll down, taking the exams, they don't have all the information on it yet. So don't check out that link. It's not going to be helpful to you until they actually figure out the platform that we're using to submit. My guess is it's going to be a lot like AP Classroom or might even be AP Classroom. So don't bother checking out the taking the exams one yet, but you will want to click on AP Schedule, view the schedule. And this is part of what I submitted to you. You can see here that our test, if I scroll down here, is Tuesday, May 19th, and the start time for our test is noon. Those are not negotiable dates or times. It will lock you out if you can't be there. So make sure now, those of you who work or doing things outside, maybe you have another brother or sister who's sharing a device with you or a parent, make sure at least 30 minutes ahead of time at 11:30, you have a device or two devices. You might need an iPad or a computer plus a phone. That's easier than just having one device. I'll explain why in a minute. Make sure you have that stuff ready, everything's fully charged, etc., etc. Okay, so our test date is Tuesday, May 19th, which is only, I think, 2 days off of when it was supposed to be in the first place. So it shouldn't be too bad. If you keep scrolling down here, you'll see all of the course-specific information. You can click on AP Music Theory and then get the information for the class. I have an assistant today who's going to be helping us. Okay, so if you click down, you'll see our specific exam date and time, and then you'll see our exam timing. This is the information in the screen that I posted to you earlier. You're going to have 25 minutes total to do question 1, 5 minutes to upload it. Then you're going to have 15 minutes to do question 2. Now, what exactly is question 1 and 2? Question 1 and 2, if you can see down here where it says question name, it's going to be, question 1 will now be the old question 5. Question 2 is going to be the old question 6. So you are going to be doing voice leading from Roman numerals and voice leading from figured bass. We've already practiced that. We've already done a bunch of them. We've already covered all that. So today's lesson is just going to be reviewing the voice leading rules. So that's all we're going to cover today is voice leading. If you see on the right side of the paper, it says question 2, which is now where 35% is going to be 2 sight singing examples. Okay, our guess is it's going to be exactly the same as it was before. They are now what was referred to as question 8 and 9. If you scroll down more, you'll see units covered as 1 through 6, not included as 7 and 8. For us, 7 and 8 was modes and secondary dominance. So they're not going to have any 5 of 5s on the test, 5 of 2s, 5 of 4s, any of those things. It's just going to be regular 7 chords are allowed, so like a 7, half diminished 7 or something, or a 5/7, those are all allowed, but not secondary dominance. Okay, 8 was modes and large forms, so we don't have to cover any of those or review any of those either. No multiple choice of any kind, because that's obviously easy to cheat on. So you'll see other course specific stuff here. I'm going to make this bigger so you can see it. Okay. Question 1, students will be provided an answer sheet template to print out or copy by hand. I do have access to a copier, so we're going to try to figure out If you don't have access to a printer and would rather have printed materials, I'm going to try to see if there's a way for me to like leave an envelope of printed sheets that I've done with gloves on or something in a month. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. We might be in school. We don't know, because this will be towards the end of fourth quarter. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, but we will have digital copies. So if you're like me, an iPad and a pencil, you can make that work. You will also be permitted to simply use notebook paper and pencil, take a picture of it and upload it, just like we had practiced with AP Classroom. So you will be able to work on paper or digital device, however it's easier. You will be allowed to submit on NoteFlight or Finale if you can use those programs and know how to use those programs. You will be permitted to do any of those methods to upload. So whatever is going to be easiest for you, you can do. So if you're good with technology and you want to practice now, awesome. I'm trying it today and we're going to see how it goes. If you're not, just use paper and pencil. That's always the safest option, but then you're going to have to think about, how do I take a picture of this, let's say on my cell phone, and get it to my computer securely and upload it to the browser in under 5 minutes without any glitches happening. So we're going to have to make sure that we've practiced that. They're supposed to be putting out a practice round for us so that we can take it however you're comfortable taking it and practice uploading. So you need to start thinking about that. So if you have Mac products, for example, I can AirDrop from my cell phone to my computer instantly. Cell phone to computer instantly. If you're on Android devices, that doesn't work. A district tablet is locked down differently, so we'll cover that when it gets there. Okay, so we're gonna not spend more time on that. Question 2, which is singing. Students will be advised to complete the recording as quickly as possible in 15 minutes because you're gonna have to check the recording and make sure it has your AP ID number for both melodies. So basically, you'll start the recording saying, "Hi, this is AP number da 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 da, sight reading 1, sing." And then you'll do the same thing for the second one, pausing, and then do the second one and upload both of them at the same time. You will not upload them separately. You're going to have one track for singing. Okay? It says you're going to get training, how to do it. So this part at the bottom is important for us to look at because it's an open book exam. They have not clarified what this means, so I'm sure you have a lot of questions I'm not going to have answers for yet. It says students may use instruments, bless you, tuners, metronomes, or digital resources to assist them in preparing their answers. We will provide a use of free apps, online tools, so you might not have it. Please note, students still submit an image of their handwritten notation for question 1 and completely unaccompanied, unaltered recording of singing for question 2. So you can't have different tracks. You can't do things differently. Okay, handwritten notation can be done digitally or it can be done on paper. So if you've got access to an Apple Pen or things like that, you can do it. I would not do it with your fingers. You're going to be doing voice leading. So I think the safest bet for all of us is probably just to handwrite it, unless you're really good with tech, okay? We do not know how they will allow instruments to be incorporated. For example, once they send you the sight singing, if you have 15 minutes and you can see both sight singings, my assumption is, and what it appears that they're saying is, you can take out your instrument, play it, sing it, do the second one, play it, sing it, and then record it. That's what it appears to say. We don't have clarification on that yet. We know you will be singing it, but I'm assuming that they will give you access to let you play on other stuff before you sing it. So that's as much as I know. Are there any questions about the exam format or any of the exam questions?
How do we submit a recording?
My guess is it's going to be exactly the same as probably what we've done with AP Class already. To upload, remember on AP Classroom, you get the little box at the bottom and you could submit, let me see if I can get to it here. Let's see. I don't have it open here. And you could submit exactly that. My guess is that it'll be in the box, just like you could upload a picture, you'll be able to upload an MP3, a recording. It's just a different type of format. So that would be my best guess. We don't know the platform they're going to be using. We don't know anything they're going to be doing for that. As soon as we know, I'll let you know. Other questions? Everybody good? I was really pretty upset about the 35% for sight singing. It's a lot, especially if people don't sing. But if they're allowing us to use instruments, this should not be difficult. If you can play it on your instrument and then sing it, I don't think you're going to struggle with that. Okay, everybody good with the exam stuff? Okay,
Yep.
let me stop sharing my iPad screen. Let's get back to Microsoft Teams and make sure we all know how to use Microsoft Teams correctly because I'm going to be putting in, I already put a bunch of stuff on your page for you to check out and to see. Let me switch to my computer here.
Cool, you can see her. And oh, that's awesome. You do realize that.
Are you babysitting, Alyssa?
My 19-year-old sister.
Hi,
Hi.
Alyssa. What's up?
Nothing much.
Okay, so I keep having a party crasher on my end too. Sorry, guys. But I have two kids by myself, so we're going to do this all together. Okay, so on your Microsoft Team Room, just to clarify, if you've never used Microsoft Teams before, you're going to go into your student portal. If you've never done it, I would encourage you to do these steps with me as we're going. I can't show you the student side just because I'm not a student. I can show you how to get there. Is there anybody who doesn't know how to log into their student portal or anybody who doesn't know the password? Perfect. So do me a favor, log on to your student portal now. You can do it on the device you're Zooming me on or a separate device. And then once you're there, just go to the main screen.
I can show you on there's no more social. I don't think there's no more social studies book.
Okay, if there's people in the background of your house, if you can mute yourself, that would be awesome. Just so we don't have it in our recording. Thank you. Okay, so mine's going to look slightly different than yours. This is an employee portal. You can see here, yours is going to be red. Thank you. Yours is going to be red, and yours in the middle where it says Microsoft Teams don't delete, yours should say you've been counted correct here for attendance. So right now you should all double check that you have attendance recorded. When you scroll down, there's a bunch of stuff here that you guys don't need to see, but the one you do need to see says Office 365. So click on the orange one that says Office 365, and then it's going to take you to a login page like you see here. Your login is your student ID number, for example, your student ID number at students.dadeschools.net. Your password is exactly what your password is for your student portal. So type it and go there now. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. I'm going to type mine in.
Yes, if we have the app, is that okay?
Yep, if you have the app, that's even better. I was going to talk about that next. Thanks.
How do you spell goldfish?
Logging in with you. If it lets me. There we go. And then it also may ask you, let me turn my sharing back on here. It also is probably going to ask you if you want to keep logged in. This is important for you to do if you want to do the app. Some people just said, hey, I have the app. Can I use it? That's great. I have it pinned to my desk bar as well, so it's easier to get in. You would usually click yes. On here, there's nothing important or secure. You're going to see a bunch of icons here at the top. Good morning, and maybe you've uploaded stuff from other people here at the bottom. Okay? The one you need to take note of is over here where it says Teams. Now, if you've never been on this page and you need to download Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, those are free downloads through our school district to your computers. So you have the ability to do that. A better way to do that is if you are actually in and using the Teams app. You can download it to Android or Apple products. And then it ends up looking like this. It's launched directly from your desktop. My classes obviously look different than your classes, but you'll get a bunch of tiles. So right now, if you click on Teams, yours should look something similar to this, but it should have all 8 of your classes. It might also have your grade level, senior class, junior class on there as well. I know they're having class meetings, and they will be launching them from these Teams. So in order to get to your class meeting, you will have to click through here to get to the Zoom meeting. Okay? Questions so far? Anybody lost? Cool. You're going to go and click on AP Theory. It looks just like the cover of our little page. And all of you should be in AP Theory. If you go up to the top, Okay. Welcome to AP
I'm not
Theory.
sure I understand.
All right, shh, Siri. Okay, you should all be in AP Theory. So I added every single person to the group individually, so everyone should be there. Is there anyone who can't see the AP Theory team? Perfect. So on the main, you'll see here on the left-hand side, there's general. This is where we're going to be posting comments and any information that we need just overall. You'll see I created extra channels, which are these little lines here. Those are called channels. One called AP Test Info, which is the information I shared with you today. So if you click on AP Test Info, you'll see here I gave you a link to the page we covered today. I gave you the main test information, and then as well as which questions will be on the test. I gave you big screenshots of those in case you needed them. As test info comes out, I'll put more stuff there. Assignments, if you click on that channel, it's going to look exactly like what I sent to you in your WhatsApp chats. If you hit see more, you're going to see homework assignments, meetings, and more. Here's our agenda on what we're doing today in our meeting, and then your home learning is here as well. So right now what I'd like for all of you to do is to find the channel called Assignments, week of April 6th, and then I would like you, if you see here in the upper right hand corner, you can click on one of these emojis. I'd like everybody to either give it a thumbs up or a heart so I know that you can find your homework. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, Melissa.
It doesn't show anything for me. It says nothing's assigned.
You're in assignments instead of in channel. So you went to the link at the top instead of the side. Go to the side where I have the information.
Okay, got it.
Very good.
Wait. Okay.
Find it. So once again, there's somebody else just commented. Okay, I see Melissa, Helen, Elizabeth, myself. I'm still missing some thumbs here. Alyssa, did you find where we were at?
I found it, but it still says there's nothing there.
Okay, so check out my screen here. On AP Theory, on channels on the left, do you see where it says Assignments Week of April 6th?
Okay.
I'm in channels. So look, if I go back to general, if you guys look here, under general, there's a link that says assignments. That's where we're going to upload stuff to grade it. You're not there. You should be on the left-hand side. There should be multiple channels here that says general, AP test, assignments, and sightseeing. Go to right here where it says Assignments Week of April 6th. Click on the channel on the left-hand side like you see here on my screen.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
And then the announcements are right there.
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead and give it a thumbs up or a heart so I know that you found it and you know how to do it. Do it on the screen, please. Don't give me a visual thumbs up.
Oh, this computer is something else.
Do you want to demonstrate sightseeing in a second? Okay. Everybody find it? I'm still missing some people. The only people who gave reactions in the right spot were Elizabeth, Helen, and Melissa. It's like a little scavenger hunt.
How do I react?
Huh?
How do I react?
So in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see here under assignments, homework assignments, if you touch your mouse over it, it'll pop up automatically with these three little dots and you can click on some type of
Okay.
I found it.
Marco, I haven't seen anything from you yet.
I just got it right now.
Okay, there we go. I see it.
Oh, got it.
Okay, everybody can see where we're at now, yeah? Cool. So this is where I'm going to post information on top of the WhatsApp, but realize that if I'm giving you guys links to things and I'm going to have to start uploading PDFs of voice leading so we can practice voice leading, I can't do that in a WhatsApp chat. It's not going to be possible for me to do that type of detail work and have you guys work on it. So in this section, I'm giving you links and logins to all the stuff that you need for today. If you look under Sight Singing Resources, it's on the left-hand side, and click on that channel. It should automatically take you, I think, to the top. So on your channel, Sight Singing Resources, the very first video I posted for you, we're going to be using next class, which will be on Thursday, and it's Sight Reading Factory how-to video. It's how to take an assignment. So everybody, as part of their homework today, is going to create an account with Sight Reading Factory. 3 of you have already done it. It shows you here exactly how you're going to take your assignments. I did not assign you anything in there. It's just a demo assignment for you to practice with. I really want to thank Elizabeth and Alyssa for helping me set that up correctly. Thank you, ladies, for going above and beyond. I really appreciate it to make sure stuff's pushed out correctly. Love you both. Thank you. So it's a 5-minute video. It shows you step by step how to select things and how to take assignments. We're going to use that platform for sight singing. So make sure as part of your assignment, you've watched that video so you know what you're doing. Okay, it's also in the instructions under assignments. If you scroll down a little bit more, the next video I posted, there's only 2 here, is changing sight singing to recognition. This was a video posted, I believe, yesterday from a master teacher in Texas for the College Board. This is from the AP Theory YouTube channel. It is a practice lesson in how to sight sing better. So it's a master teacher showing you how to use different strategies to sight sing better. I would like you to look at this over the next week in your free time to practice. I am not going to be pushing out a sight singing exercise to you this week. I want you to work with this channel. So your assignment coming up Thursday, just a heads up, is going to be simply watching the video and practicing with it, and then finishing part of the assignment from today. That's it. Okay, so everybody knows how they can access these videos. I posted them here so you didn't have to look for them on YouTube. Any questions? Okay, so let's go back to the rest of our stuff for today. So our agenda, we already did our demo on Microsoft Teams, including videos. We reviewed parts of the updated test. We're going to be covering chapter 12 in a minute. Our Zoom meetings from here on out will be posted in our team room. So let's cover how to do that from here on out. You'll see in general at the very bottom right here, okay, posted for Thursday, 11 a.m. Zoom meeting. In order to attend the Zoom meeting, you click on the purple part, anywhere on the purple. It will open up a window, and at the top, it's going to ask you to join, and you'll see who is attending our meeting with us on Thursday. Mr. Balboa wants to crash our party. So we will be watching, Mr. Balboa will probably be on silent, watching our AP class on the 9th. I was in a faculty meeting yesterday. I'll warn you that we were asked to only have Zoom meetings during our actual class time. So this will be our last Zoom meeting on Thursday at 11 o'clock. We're supposed to have our meetings at 7:20 a.m. We're not doing 7:20 a.m. because I know none of you will be awake. But what I would like to do is we're going to have to come as close as we can to that time. I know right after our meeting is usually band and orchestra, so I'm going to be contacting Mr. Cruz to find out if he and I can come to some sort of agreement on going into our 3rd period, because for band we don't need Zoom meetings on a daily basis at all. And I know for orchestra you guys are meeting in breakout sessions, so I'm going to try to see how late I can push those meetings, but for this week they're going to stay at 11 o'clock, okay? Because we had some conflicts yesterday. A couple people had different classes. We're going to be following the bell schedule. So the very earliest we would end up meeting is probably 8 o'clock at the earliest, if Mr. Cruz and I can't shift our schedules with orchestra. Okay, so just a mental heads up. Good morning, Mario. Thanks for joining us today. We just finished going through our how to get on Microsoft Teams. If for some reason you missed it, we're recording this Zoom right now, and I'm going to post it in our Teams. You can go back and check it out and figure out what you missed, okay? You're not muted. Good morning. So we just figured out that our meeting on Thursday, our class meeting, to access it is going to be here in our general channel for our Microsoft Teams. So you have the option of going the 5 steps through your portal to get there, or you have the option of downloading the app like I know many of you did. This is the app version that you're looking at right now. The version on your screen right now is the app version. The cool part about that also is if you click on your calendar, it will start to show you all of your Zoom meetings for your different classes. So this is why they want us to do this, so that we can see any conflicts that might be taking place, and you'll be able to see those as well. Okay? I'm sorry, what was that? Mario, make sure you mute yourself, please. You're unmuted right now. If you need to talk, go ahead and unmute. But for right now, try to keep yourself on mute, okay? Any other questions on Microsoft Team Rooms? How to access your meeting Thursday, how to access your resources or your homework. Everything good so far? Okay, let's move on to our actual part of our lesson for today. Let me stop sharing my screen here. Okay, we're going to be covering, just reviewing, it's all review, voice leading from the chapter 12 of our Nortons. So in your notes on Teams, there was a link right there to the textbook. So if you can click the link right now, it will take you to your digital resources page, which will look like this. There we go. Okay, once you're logged in, if you remember correctly, it should take you to this screen. This should look familiar, but there's more icons because they unlocked all of your stuff. Remember how we couldn't get to certain parts of Inquisitive and there was things that we couldn't do because it was all locked down and it cost more money to use? They unlocked everything for us, so we have a lot easier time. So right now, please, using the link I put in your Teams room under week 6 assignments, please have your screen match mine. If for some reason you don't remember how to log in, you lost your password, make a note that you need to come back to access it because your homework is on this page. So go ahead and try to log in. I'll give you 30 seconds. If anybody has any problems, you can send me a chat or you can ask a question.
Is it the same one that you sent the WhatsApp chat?
Should be the same one in the link. I also posted it in Microsoft Teams. In case you needed it, let me go back. Let me see if I can log out and show you the link here. Hold on. I think it was the exact same one I put in WhatsApp. Let me double check our WhatsApp here. AP. Yeah, it's the exact same link from WhatsApp. The digital www.norton.com guide to theory 3. So you can get there also from there.
Okay, I'm good.
Everybody's good? Is there anybody struggling still? Forgot your password, having to reset stuff? Try to have it auto-save. I know that might be inconvenient for some of you, but I know I had to reset my password this morning because I didn't remember it either. If you can't get in for whatever reason, make a note to come back and we'll just proceed with the stuff on the screen here. Want to bring your attention to a couple things. You'll see here our ebook, that's our textbook. We've used that a limited amount in class on the screen, but you're going to have to use it now. The Know It is videos. You don't need to access that unless you absolutely have to. Show It with the little rabbit ears with the guy with the eye is the inquisitive access. So that is exactly where you want to be. You will obviously not have student grades at all. Workbook we are not going to be using at this time. I still need to go through the workbook. The digital workbook here is different than the actual paper workbook. So it doesn't match the workbook that we have sitting in the classroom and the one that I have at home. So we'll have to see how that goes. And then the playlists are the musical examples for the book. We don't need to worry about that right now either. Okay, so under our ebooks, we're going to click on our textbooks. If you have it in front of you, that's great. If not, you can check out my screen here from the iPad. Would you like to save the password? Sure, so I don't forget it. Okay, you'll see here, if you scroll down, I'm going to select you guys just because I can. And then I can see how much time, if you notice how many times everybody's been in their textbook and what we've been doing. You'll notice here that we did chapter 2 as a class and we logged in as a class so we knew how to use it back earlier in the year. If you can scroll down, please, and go to chapter 12, 1-2, the basic phrase in SATB style. If for some reason you can't get there, don't stress it. You can use my screen for right now, but you will need to go back in to use this for your homework. Okay, so the information contained in this chapter is all of the voice leading rules, what to do, what not to do in voice leading, all of the errors that you're going to get. Are you measuring my couch? Okay, thanks. She learned to measure this week, so she's measuring our couch. everything in here in chapter 12 we've covered, but I want to review it. We have not used this book. We used the tonal harmony book earlier. So we're going to scroll down here. At the bottom, you'll notice that you have arrows at the bottom, black arrows that will get you to the next page here. So phrases we learned has a cadence at the end. We're going to be reviewing cadences just so it'll make it easier for you for your voice leading. She says she's going to demonstrate sight singing. She's been practicing with Sight Reading Factory. Watch out. All right. In our phrases, the end is a cadence. We know that. We're not going to be covering the music included in here. They're showing you the phrase markings. Unfortunately, we're not going to be assessed on this on our test, so I'm going to move forward because we don't need to do this for multiple choice. If you scroll down past the tonic area and you get to cadence types, it's very important for you to look at the cadence types because we have covered key concepts in your textbook or anything in purple, as you know. So an authentic cadence, review that. It's the 3 criteria. It's the 5-1, the no inversions, and then the soprano and bass have to match. They also have on here, so 2 different pictures of perfect authentic. Then this book actually goes into the 2 types of imperfect authentic cadences. Your AP test will not cover both types. They will only call it imperfect authentic cadence. Now you'll see here that the strong ones are in root position. The contrapuntal ones are inversions. So you might want to make a mental note of that because that is a question on inquisitive, although it is not a question on the AP test. You do need to know cadences in order to figure out your voice leading. Okay, we also know that a half cadence ends on 5. We've covered all those things. If you keep scrolling down, this is all review for us. Okay. If you need to review cadences further, you can check this. You can check this out here. This is not on the test where we have to label anything anymore. So we're going to proceed on. Use the little arrow to get over if you haven't done that already. This is the part that's the most essential for us today. Okay, the notation of 4-part harmony. We know SATB stands for soprano, alto, tenor, bass. We know this. If you scroll down to underneath My Country 'Tis of Thee, the black letters underneath that say, to write a good SATB setting, keep 5 basic concepts in mind. Clear notation, comfortable vocal ranges, spacing, independent melodies, and appropriate chord doublings. These are what we're going to review today. Okay, stems and clefs, we should know at this point, if you look on My Country 'Tis of Thee, soprano goes up, alto stems go down, tenor stems go up, bass stems go down. This is all review. We've already done this. Okay, going down further, notating, you'll see the notation in the middle, unison, how to notate unisons. There should not be unisons on the AP test, but because this is different this year, they could be. I want to prepare you to make sure that you have seen this and make sure you know how to notate it. So you'll see the soprano and alto, when they share a note, the soprano has the stems up on the right side, the alto has stems down on the left. We've probably seen this before, and if you have unison whole notes, they go side by side touching. You shouldn't be writing any whole notes though, just in case. Our ranges. This is not a definitive guide to ranges, it's a rough guideline. As a general rule, C's to G's and G's to C is our guideline we've spoken about before. So you see our soprano has a middle C down to a high G in the soprano section. Our alto can sing a G below the staff. They probably shouldn't, but they can. Our tenor, you'll see, is C to the G above the staff. The bass is the one that's different. He has E to D. I would keep the bass on the staff or at the highest, have him doing the C right above the staff. I would not have, Mama, I need you to stop this. Thank you. Okay, I would keep them C's to G's, try to keep it comfortable. Okay, so moving down to the next pictures, you'll see here, good spacing and bad spacing. You know, one of our things we have to make sure is that our notes that are adjacent, meaning soprano, alto is adjacent, alto, tenor is adjacent, stay within an octave, except for which 2 voices? Anybody? What are the 2 voices? Bass and tenor, very good. So our men's voices do not have to be within an octave. Typically, they're going to be within an octave and 2 notes, which is octave and 4 notes, which is a 12th. Okay, we shouldn't get them more than on the below the staff and above the staff. So you'll see here the first comment they have underneath the picture where it says good spacing, an octave or less between adjacent voices, larger span and tenor bass is okay. And then poor spacing, just visually, if you look at the poor spacing, you'll see that the adjacent voices have gaping holes in them. None of that is permitted. Everybody sees where we're talking about. This should be common sense, but just visually checking out your answers. Okay. Independent moving lines. You are not allowed to write non-chord tones in your voice leading. So take those non-chord tones we learned, toss them out the window because you can't use them on the AP test. We are not doing question 7. Okay, so when they talk about independent moving lines in this book example, we are not permitted to use them on the test. It is important though, if you're going to go ahead to college, you need to know what this is. Okay, so I'm going to leave that to you. The next one, I'm sorry, I forgot one at the top. Independent melodic lines, voice crossing. I apologize. I'm right underneath the purple bar at the top. A voice crossing, you can see in the musical picture in measure 19, where the alto has a B and the tenor has an E. The E is actually the E at the bottom of the treble clef, and the B is the top of the bass clef. So that's an example of crossed voices for 1 note, for 2 notes, excuse me, because that's a half note in the tenor. That is not allowed. That's an issue. Another one is overlapping. To our next set of notes here. Overlapping occurs between 2 chords rather than on the same chord. So you have to look from one chord to the next. So in the first example they give you, the tenor has an E, which is the E on the treble clef staff, and then it goes to a D, the next note in the alto. That is considered overlapping. You'll see the next picture, the example of voice crossing, where stuff flips. So you need to make sure you have looked at your part. Are you going to have to identify this in the AP test? No. But you are going to have to check your own work to make sure you don't have any examples of this, because if you do, you automatically lose those 2 points for voice leading. Everybody knows what to look for? Good, moving on. Try and move fast so we get you guys off calls. Okay, doubling. This purple box right now, I would take that purple box, take a screenshot of this purple box, and put it in your open book notes for your test. This box right here that says key concepts, doubling guidelines for triads, I would take a picture. Okay, this you can use on the test to make sure your stuff is right.
Can I demonstrate?
Not yet. I'll call you when it's your turn. Okay. Okay, so a doubled note, a tendency turn, anything that's a 7th, we don't double the 7th. In a root position chord, the bass note or the name of the chord is doubled. We know that. In a first inversion, double any chord that does not have an accidental and is not a tendency tone, which is 7. Doubling the soprano is a common strategy. Doubling the bass is another. So what do we talk about? Double the name of the chord, which is usually in the soprano, or double the bass note. That's what we had talked about previously. For second inversions, you're always going to double the bass, which is the 5th. For diminished triads, this is something that we haven't spoke as much about that you need to make note of, which often appear in first inversion. So we're talking about like a 7 diminished 6 or a 7 diminished 6-5, like the Roman numeral 7. Double the bass, which is the 3rd of the chord. Occasionally, the 5th may be doubled. Doubling the root is wrong because it emphasizes the dissonance and it causes voice leading problems. So you need to take a picture of that box because you can use notes on your test. This box is essential to you knowing what to do on your voice leading to get it right. Everybody understands me? I can put exclamation points on that. Okay, any questions about those rules? Most of it's review. Okay, let's keep going. They show you a picture of where things are doubled. I'm not going to make you work through this because we've already done these before. They give you a try it, which we can go back and do. We're not going to do that right now, so you can practice doubling chords correctly. I do have all the answer keys home with me, so if you want to do extra work or you want to make sure you're doing it right, you can just send me a picture or upload it and I can double check it for you and grade it if you're interested. It's not part of your homework though. Okay, flipping the page. Okay, resolving. the leading tone in 7 and 5, 6. So it says here, okay, there's lots of fives always. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you can see. Sorry, it's on an iPad. Okay. The process of connecting 5-1, which is strong in SABT, provides everything that you're going to need. When 5 goes to 1, the leading tone 7, scale degree 7, resolves up to 1 by half step. Okay, this is true of any major key or minor key. It says here, although the dominant triad provides the strongest resolution in root position, the first inversion, which is a 5-6, with the baseline resolving 7 to 1. So we already talked about anytime you see a 7th scale degree, it always goes up. Anytime you see the 7th of a chord, it goes down. Very good. Close, Eden. Eden's answering along with us, okay? Key concepts. It says authentic and half cadences need an accidental. That is one of your most important things. I would write in my papers, minor progressions require raised sevenths. So if you look at the bottom in the picture, okay, you've got the same exact voice leading in D major and D minor. As you remember, all of our minor, Roman numeral, and figure bass examples are going to have the raised seventh. You have to raise it. Okay, you are required to raise it, not them. So if you notice in our D minor example in the middle of the page, they added the C sharp and it always goes up to D. So anytime you have an accidental in minor, almost 90% of the time, it's going to go up to the next note. Okay, so that's an easy way in minor to try to find out what we're doing with that 7th scale degree. So what I would do is when I see D minor on here, I would simply write a C sharp underneath it, find all the C's and make them sharp, and then double check that all of them are going up to D, for example. Any questions on raising the 7th in minor? I'll review, but I know it's been a while, so we're going to go over all of it, okay? All right. I know this was a question we had earlier. We did this maybe about 2 months ago. It says here, we talked when we did counterpoint about 3s and 6s. We practiced writing whole notes and doing 3s and 6s. We practiced this when we did question 7. Okay, I know it's probably been a little while since we've done this, but they're showing you here parallels, contrary, etc. So some of you had a question about contrary octaves and fifths. Okay, it says here, 2 and 4 part writing, I'm in the first bullet at the top. Parallel motion between 6s and 3s is fine. Okay, the second bullet, parallel octaves and fifths are avoided. We're not allowed to do that. The bullet 3, simple repetition of fifths or octaves is common. What does that mean? That means like when we do our voice leading, share 2 at step 1 or share 1 step 1, that shared note is considered a repetition of a fifth or an octave. That is acceptable. So for example, if I have a C in my tenor and a G in my alto, and my next chord, I have a C in my alto and a G in my tenor, and it's a repetition of the same exact notes, that is not parallel fifths or octaves, because they're not changing notes. An example of a parallel fifth or octave, let me draw for you here. Switch over. Okay, you can see my staff. I love that I figured all this stuff out. This is what I did on spring break, figured out all the technology. Okay, so let's say I have this guy and this guy. Okay, let's say I have a C major chord to a G major chord. Okay, and I have this voice leading. That was a horrible G. Hold on, let me fix that. And let's say the rest of my chord is here. And let's say I have this. And I have a horrible spacing, but we'll go like that. Okay, so let's pretend those are my 2 chords. You can see, first and foremost, what's wrong with this. I'm not supposed to leap, right? That's a fifth. My bass also is a fifth. So if this is a fifth, and this is a fifth, and notice these are both perfect fifths, that's an example of bad voice leading. You can't do that. You can't have 5s and octaves, okay? Also bad voice leading and bad chords is this guy right here. My distance between these 2 notes is also wrong. So what you're going to see is if you break one rule, it usually leads to 2 things being wrong with your grading. So this here has a huge spacing, right? Because it's more than an octave. So because you did the leap here, you now have a spacing issue over here. Everybody sees? Okay, so this would be an example of parallel. Switching back over. There we go. Okay, switching back over, it shows you down here at the bottom, parallel thirds, which is common. That's good. We do that all the time. Parallel octaves, you'll see they gave you another example, also created by a leap in the soprano. The soprano did a leap, which is why it has parallels. Parallel fifths, you'll see there, make it bigger. Okay, parallel fifths, you'll see in our bass and our tenor, the tenor leapt. The bass is allowed to, but the tenor leapt, therefore causing parallel fifths. We're not allowed to do that. Now, this is what is allowed. Repeated fifths are common. We are permitted to do this, and it's great voice leading. Notice the notes didn't change. They didn't move anyplace. That's where they're allowed. Do we understand the difference? Okay, so if they're here and they're allowed, I can't write on this page because it's the textbook. I can't draw over it and show you at the same time, but that is permitted. Now, contrary octaves. You'll see here in this example that the bass goes from an A to a D. The alto goes from an A to a D. It is still perfect octaves, even though the first A is over an octave apart. It's 2 octaves. This is called contrary octaves. Why? Because they move from here into that. So it's an octave here into an octave here. Do we understand? So it's contrary motion, meaning it moves opposite, but the letter names are still A and the letter names are still D. And it's different notes. Notice my bass didn't go AA and my alto didn't go AA. They moved A to D. That's the difference between the contrary one and the ones that are permitted. Do we understand the difference between them? Anybody have questions about that?
Miss, what happens if you have like the first one are the same, like it's an octave apart, and then it goes to the same note? It's not an octave apart. It's like the same D. For example, like middle D.
Right. Well, that would, number one, that would be an octave jump to get from the high D to the low D, so we can't jump octaves. But if you have, let's say, a D, D, and then the next one's a D, D, that's allowed because you didn't change notes. You would never have an octave D up here to an octave D down here. You could in the bass, I guess. The bass could go from, let's say, a G to a G, and my alto has a G and a G. That's okay. That is because it's not changing letter names. Okay, the letter names is perfectly fine. So notice this example here on the screen is going from an A to a D. Those are 2 different letters, not A to A, which is the same letters. Make sense? That's a good question. Any other questions? Oh, sorry, Maddie. Hold on. Somehow I lost Maddie. Give me a second. She's sending me a message. Jimenez, I can't get back in. Hold on. I lost her for some reason. Oh, my bad. Maddie, can you see me? I'm admitting her. Oops. Hold on. There was a problem with Melissa. Admit. There we go. Maddie, can you see me? She's having a hard time getting on. Okay, we'll just leave this open. All right, so let's move on. For contrary octaves, there's also contrary fifths in the same type of example. So you'll see in the bass and the tenor, you have an A and an E, and then a D and an A. Once again, changing notes. That's why it's wrong. If it was AA and DD, that's not wrong because nothing's changing. It's simply being static, going from one to the other. This one is contrary, meaning going in. And if you look at the letter names, A to E is a fifth, perfect fifth, and D to A is a perfect fifth. These guys are the ones that you're going to have the most problems with because if you don't check your work for this, you're going to have a really, really hard time figuring out how to make this happen. Okay, so this is for you to figure out how to get in. Oh, hold on. I keep admitting her and then she keeps disappearing. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Okay, I keep admitting and she's not here. All right, let's finish moving on with our work because we're almost out of time for today. Okay. So it says here, any perfect interval should be approached by contrary oblique motion. If you guys just simply do all of the voice leading stuff that I've given you and follow the rules that we've talked about from tonal harmony, which what we can review next class, I'm not giving you any assignments where you're having to write voice leading today. It's only going over chapter 12 inquisitive. We will cover those first before we do that. So you'll see here direct, hidden, octaves, direct fifths, fifths with a common tone, etc., etc. You shouldn't even have to worry about those if you just use our voice leading rules. So you can see here all of the things that we just talked about in our examples earlier. So we're not going to do our practice. Let's finish our chapter so we can be done. Okay, writing for keyboard. We're not going to deal with that today. Melody and accompaniment we already spoke about and we already talked about. Oh, fudge. Okay, harmonizing a melody we don't have to worry because we're not doing chapter 7, and I believe that is the end of our chapter. And that's it. Okay, so your homework for today. Let's go back and show our inquisitive section here. Okay, if we go back, remember to navigate back on your book. You simply click the textbook and the title at the top and it will take you back. You can also use the little arrow to the left of the ebook and it will take you back. So your homework today is under show it. Now I'm not going to click the show it because it's got all of your grades there. It's got everybody's assessment amounts and I don't want to do that for people who have already taken their stuff. So in there under chapter 12 you're going to see your assignment. So your assignment today is to do inquisitive. Now if you remember, it's for chapter 12 only. You are allowed to reference the book back and forth in inquisitive. You can get whatever percentage you want to go in the grade book, but once you get a certain percentage, I only set it to 20 questions. Once you've passed 20 questions, it'll give you a grade. If you want to keep moving and getting a better grade, you are free to do so and to get as best of a grade as you want. If you want to do 40 questions and get a 90%, you go right ahead. If you can get a 90% in 20 questions, you can do that too. So whatever you would like to do is up to you. So your homework, once again, from Microsoft Teams, let me unshare our stuff here for a second. Stop. Okay. Our homework from our team room. General assignments. Okay. So in our team room here, if we go to our general team room, just a reminder how to access your assignments. We're accessing them here on the left-hand side where it says assignments the week of April 6th. And then you see more, and today's assignments are posted in there for you. I did also post them today to your WhatsApp. So the guide to theory, we did that. So write down notes for airs, voice leading, and doublings. We talked about that right now. I asked you to take a picture of it. I'm going to encourage you to write it down on notes. You're not going to probably be able to use your digital devices for these notes. So I'm asking you for number 1, write down all voice leading airs, ranges, and doubling recommendations, which was that box we talked about. Log in. So we already did that today in class. And then complete chapter 12 inquisitive. Are there any questions about homework assignments? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing right now. We're going to stop the recording here. So if anybody has any other questions, we're going to finish our recording for right now.